When my mother-in-law smiled at me that day and said, "The barbecue felt peaceful without your family," I didn't even know how to respond. Her voice was dripping with fake sweetness, but her words cut deeper than any knife. Everyone around the table laughed, my husband included. I just sat there, frozen, staring at my plate like maybe if I didn't move, no one would see how much that comment hurt me. But what she didn't know was that her little jab, that one cruel sentence, would start a chain of events that ended with my husband losing everything, his job, his home, his respect, and even me. Tell me honestly, would you have stayed quiet if your in-laws insulted you like that right in front of everyone? Or would you have done what I did? It started 3 years ago when I first met my husband, Daniel. Back then, he was charming, kind, and respectful. He worked as a finance manager, always in control, always composed. He was the kind of man who made everyone feel safe, or at least, that's what I thought. We met through mutual friends, and after a whirlwind 6 months, he proposed. I said yes, thinking I had found my forever person. But I had no idea what kind of family I was marrying into. From the very first family dinner, I noticed how different they were. His parents, especially his mother, treated me like an outsider. She'd make little remarks like, "Oh, you're not much of a cook, are you?" Or, "In our family, women don't work too much, they focus on the home." I tried to brush it off at first, thinking she just needed time to warm up to me. But no, that woman was cold as ice. After the wedding, the mask came off completely. My mother-in-law would call me the city girl who trapped her son. My father-in-law barely spoke to me. My husband always defended them, saying, "That's just how they are. Don't take it personally." But how was I not supposed to take it personally when they constantly disrespected me? Still, I tried to keep peace. I cooked for them, I helped around the house, I bought gifts on holidays. I did everything I could to make them see that I belonged in their family. But no matter what I did, I was never good enough. Then came the barbecue, the event that changed everything. It was supposed to be a casual family get-together at my in-laws' house. Daniel told me he wanted to go alone that day because my parents were planning to come too, and he didn't want too many people. That was my first red flag. I didn't argue, I just said, "Fine. Go." I stayed home with our 2 kids, feeling a bit hurt but trying to be understanding. When he came home later that night, he seemed off. He said it was fine, but I noticed he was quiet. The next day, his sister sent a photo in the family group chat, everyone smiling around the grill. That's when I saw the caption, "Such a peaceful day without the drama." I didn't say anything. I just saved the photo and put my phone down. I knew what it meant. A week later, I was helping my daughter with her homework when my husband's phone started buzzing on the couch. I went to silence it and saw a group chat open with his family. And there it was, message after message mocking me. His mother had written, "The barbecue felt so peaceful without her noise. Maybe we should keep it that way." His sister replied with laughing emojis. And then, the one that broke me, Daniel himself had written, "Yeah, it was nice for a change." I just stared at the screen. My hands were trembling. My heart was pounding in my ears. That was the man who promised to protect me, laughing at me behind my back. When he came home that evening, I confronted him. He looked shocked for a moment, then defensive. "You went through my phone," he shouted. I said, "You humiliated me, Daniel. Your family treats me like garbage and you join them?" He rolled his eyes and said, "You're too sensitive. It was just a joke." I felt my chest tighten. A joke? You call mocking your wife a joke? He shrugged and said, "You know how mom is. You should just let it go." That night, I didn't sleep. I realized I wasn't just fighting against a toxic family, I was married to one of them. For weeks, I distanced myself emotionally. I focused on my kids, my job, and my peace. Meanwhile, Daniel and his family continued their little gatherings without me. They thought I'd just fade away quietly, that I'd keep smiling while they disrespected me. But I was done being their punching bag. Around that time, I found out something interesting. Daniel had been bragging to his parents that he was helping manage his company's finances, but I knew from the small business we ran together on the side that he'd been struggling with debt. One night, I checked our joint account and realized money was missing, thousands of dollars. I confronted him again, and he said he borrowed it for an investment. I didn't believe him for a second. I decided not to argue. Instead, I quietly gathered every financial document I could find, every receipt, every bank statement. I wanted to be prepared, because something told me this was only going to get worse. Then, the storm hit. One Friday afternoon, I got a call from his company. They asked if I knew Daniel's whereabouts because he hadn't shown up in 3 days. My stomach dropped. When he finally came home that night, I could smell the alcohol before he even opened the door. He looked defeated. They found out, he said. Found out what? I asked. I made some transfers. I thought I could fix it before anyone noticed, but they're investigating now. He'd been stealing from his own company's accounts. My mind was spinning. Daniel, are you insane? He yelled, I did it for us. For this family. I laughed bitterly. For us. You and your family said life was better without me. Don't you dare say this was for me. In the weeks that followed, everything crumbled. His company fired him, and there was talk of legal action. His family, the same ones who used to mock me, suddenly turned on him. His mother called me one morning, her voice shaking. Can you please talk to him? He won't listen to anyone. I almost laughed. The same woman who said the barbecue felt peaceful without me was now asking for my help. You made it clear I don't belong, I told her calmly. So handle it without me. I'm sure it'll be peaceful. And I hung up. But I wasn't done yet. Because while Daniel's world was falling apart, I quietly secured mine. I moved money into my personal account, the part of our savings that legally belonged to me. I got a lawyer, filed for separation, and arranged a place for me and the kids to stay. I didn't tell him until the day I left. That morning, he was sitting on the couch, surrounded by unopened bills. He looked up and said, "You're really going to leave me now?" I said, "You left me long before this, Daniel. The day you laughed with them, you stopped being my husband." He didn't even argue. He just sat there, silent, defeated. I walked out of that house and never looked back. A few months later, I heard from a mutual friend that Daniel was living with his parents again. The company pressed charges, and he lost almost everything, his car, his savings, his pride. And suddenly, the house that was once filled with laughter and insults turned into a place of misery. Karma doesn't miss, and this time, it hit right where it hurt. His mother even tried to reach out to me again. She said, "I just wanted to say, maybe we were too harsh on you." I smiled and said, "Maybe? You said life was peaceful without me, remember? I hope you're all enjoying that peace now." She didn't say another word. You know, when I look back, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel clarity. People show you who they are, you just have to believe them the first time. I spent years trying to earn love from people who only wanted to tear me down. I built a home, raised 2 kids, worked hard, and they treated me like I was nothing. But now, I'm free. I have a peaceful home, a stable job, and most importantly, self-respect. Sometimes peace doesn't come from silence, it comes from walking away from the noise. So that's the situation I was in. My husband betrayed me, his family humiliated me, and in the end, karma gave them exactly what they deserved. But I want to ask you, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have confronted them earlier, or walked away sooner? Before you answer, think about this: forgiveness doesn't always mean letting people back in. Sometimes, it means letting them live with the consequences of their actions. So pause this story for a moment and tell me in the comments, what would you have done? Anyway, the last time I saw Daniel was in court. He looked like a shadow of the man I once knew, thinner, broken, eyes full of regret. He tried to apologize, said he missed his family, that he wanted another chance. I told him, "You made your choice. You laughed with the people who tore me down. You didn't just lose your job, you lost your integrity. He lowered his head and said, I know. I ruined everything. I nodded and said, yes. But sometimes losing everything is the only way people learn what really mattered. Then I walked out, and that was the last conversation we ever had. Now, it's been over a year since then. My life isn't perfect, but it's peaceful, truly peaceful. The kind of peace his mother bragged about, but this time it's real. No fake smiles, no cruel jokes, no pretending. Just me and my kids, laughing in our little apartment, eating dinner without judgment or tension. And you know what? I finally realized something. Peace doesn't come from keeping toxic people happy. It comes from choosing yourself, even when it hurts. So if you've ever been made to feel small by someone who should have loved you, remember this story. Don't waste your time trying to win people who secretly enjoy seeing you suffer. Walk away, and let the universe handle the rest. It always does. Like this video if you were on my side, and if you think karma finally did its job here. Subscribe for more stories like this one, stories about people who stood up for themselves when no one else would. And let me know in the comments what you think. Did I do the right thing by leaving? Or should I have given him another chance? Either way, thank you for listening to my story. I'll see you all in the next one.